get started. So, hey everyone, this is Big Chill Chat, your OSRS based podcast. I am your host, iGodSlayer, and we did end up losing our co-host, but that's okay because we're going to have many different people, some of our admin team and Big Chill, to come in and fill in for that role. We'll have different special guests. We're going to be recording another episode at some point with Mr. Nasty Nate, which I'm super excited to do. That man is a legend. So, just kind of getting on with the podcast portion of it. So recently, I don't know if anyone has been looking at some of the stuff on YouTube, but we do have a YouTube channel. It is also Big Chill OSRS. And there's a lot of different things out there. There's going to be some more guides put out there. Right now I'm doing a TOA till Shadow, which I'm super excited for. I'm just waiting to get that Shadow because it's really going to help out my bank. I've been working on pretty much that lately. I did start a Hardcore Ironman, which I'm going to start doing some kind of recordings around that once I get into it a little bit further. No point of doing it in the early game, in my opinion, just because it's really not super exciting. But yeah, that's pretty much it for those. And, lately I've been doing a few things in-game too that I really like hosting some of the hide and seeks. I have so much fun doing those and love finding unique spots to hide in. And having people kind of complain or try to figure out where you were at sometimes is just incredible. I hid in the fishing guild upstairs, and the fishing guild building kind of looks like some of the houses in Falador. So people were actually looking at Falador for me when I was actually in the fishing guild. So that was kind of fun. And there's a lot more of that in Big Chill, so if you ever want to join any of that, there's a bunch of different giveaways and everything like that. So, come take a look at us. Alright, so carrying on, I'm going to share my screen, kind of go over some of the updates that recently have happened, or are happening now for OSRS. Alright, let me pull this up over here. So the Project Rebalance Combat Changes. This was one of the last ones that came out, and honestly, I really like it. And it's the elemental weakness I haven't really done too much with. I mean, it's a really cool concept because, I mean, you have your different bolts and stuff like that. I'm waiting for this to be worked into ranged with crossbows and everything like that, because I feel like that's going to be super interesting to see. I mean, I know you have your different enchantments and everything like that, but I'm hoping that maybe those kind of get reworked too, just a little bit. But Mage got reworked for some, and if you cast Fire Surge on an NPC who has 50% fire weakness, you'll gain 50% accuracy and damage, which honestly is just incredible. So their example that they put in here was Adamant Dragons. Slayer monster, poison resistance 100, vulnerable to Dragon Bane, and 50% earth weakness. So, Earth Surge. Eddie Dragon would be super weak to that. The air weakness to the Barrows Brothers, which I think is pretty cool. Avanshees, Ghosts, Skeletons. Your water weakness, which is another kind of... I think it's cool how they've added all of these in. Your Lava Dragons. I'm kind of surprised that Demonic Gorillas are for water weakness. But, I mean, it makes sense. Demon, right? Hellhounds. Kind of the same thing. All the demons. Pyre Fiends, Fire Giant. Giant Mole, I'm kind of surprised for the water weakness too. Drakes, I mean, I get that. That's another dragon type. Earth weakness, your metal dragons. So this is going to make your early game, in my opinion, your early game is going to be so much easier because you can use the elemental spells. 1 second. Like I said, that's going to make your early game a lot easier. I also forgot to put my camera on. So your elemental weaknesses for your fire weaknesses, you have giant spiders, which, yeah, everyone knows. Burn them spiders with fire. Near anything that begins with ice. So I love that. Ice trolls, ice demons, ice giants, ice fiends. I mean, that all makes sense. You know, your moss giants. And I mean, really, a lot of these do make sense. Like, you could see how that would be. I mean, maybe not the abyssal portal. I'm not sure how that would be. But hey, it works with me. Nightmare totems. So that's going to open up more people to being able to do Nightmare, which I personally think is awesome. I haven't really done Nightmare. I plan to at some point, but I'm cool with not doing some stuff until I'm doing a series on them. I'm not really going to go over the elemental spell scaling, just kind of look that over yourselves here. Because to me, I mean, it kind of just, it's almost the same way as it's always been, in my opinion. But at least how I thought it was. So maybe I was wrong this whole time. Your range defenses, light, standard, heavy. Based off the type of ammunition, bolts, javelins being heavy. Standard is your arrow, your bowfall, your crystal bow. Magical arrows are still arrows. It makes sense. Darts, knives, and anything that's thrown are your light. Which this is where I'm saying, like, where it's going to be really cool. So, like, Commander Zilliana, heavy range defense is reduced. So your bolts and javelins are going to hit more here. But I think a lot of people either use, like your T-bow or Bofa here, just because it really just shreds Zilly. Corporal Beast, heavy defense is reduced. Okay, I mean, is cannon considered heavy at that point with the cannonballs? Because that would make sense there, right? Lizardmen have had their light defense reduced. Gargoyles, heavy. I mean, yeah, some people do bolt gargoyles off to the side because you can safe spot them, at least in Cannon Fist, so that's pretty cool. Next, I mean, that just makes ZCB so much better, having her heavy defense reduced, which, again, that kind of makes sense because you're going to use ZCB there quite often. I mean, a lot of these are really cool. Basilisk Knights, so yeah, you can safe spot those pretty well. Heavier defense on Baba, which I can't wait to get to the Baba portion of it because so dragons across the board except for Vorkast have had their stab defense reduced. That's really cool. I mean, honestly, it's going to make a lot of the melee stuff done. I mean, speaking of melee, I'm going to do a guide for Vorkath for melee. That's next. So, mage damage redistribution. This one, I feel like, had a lot of people going back and forth. So, obviously, Occult got nerfed, right? 10 to 5. That's huge. Now, Ancestral got buffed another percent based off of each piece. So, you pretty much have to have full Ancestral now to make up for your lack of Occult, right? I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to. I mean, Virtus robes, they still have their place because they have heavier defense than Ancestral, and they also got buffed up another percent. So you're not really losing much if you had Virtus before to now with the Occult nerf. So as long as you're using full. but I feel like depending on what you're doing and where you're going, it makes sense. Now the biggest thing, I mean, you have all these different ones, that went from 0 to 1. So that's also making up for the occult, I feel. But your biggest thing is your augury, your prayers increase from 0 to 4%. So now you pretty much have to have that prayer on to get that, extra bit. And the shadow actually does not multiply accuracy or damage based off the gain from prayers. So it would just be an increase of 4%. So that's kind of a big swing in power, at least a little bit for the shadow, which is probably why it's sitting at 1.4 and Tebow is at 1.7. I'm not going to go over the other spells here. Elite Void, that went from 2.5 to 5%. So that's a pretty big adjustment for Elite Void. Soul Reaper Axe. I've seen. I haven't really used it yet. Definitely on my to buy list. And the Soul Reaper Axe now, 20 ticks, 12 seconds without attacking. It will start to decrease, but you will actually get to keep those stacks that you build from the Soul Reaper Axe, which is huge for PKing or even some other content. Like, I'm off of the top of my head, I can think of Vard. You actually will keep those stacks, and that's going to be sweet. Elder Maul now costs 50% for the special attack and hits with 25% increased accuracy and reduces defense by 35%. So that's really awesome. That's like a super powered BGS in a way. I believe the BGS is almost identical to the same spec. So that's really cool that they added that. And I was watching the price of that just skyrocket. I mean, it was what? Like, at one point I think I was like 19 mil, and now it's close to 200. Absolutely insane. Inquisitors, yeah, not really too big on some of the Inquisitor stuff. I feel like it's still underwhelming for how difficult Nightmare is. Especially to actually get a drop, which I know they buffed that, but which is down here a little bit. But the next thing I really wanted to go over, because I've been doing nothing pretty much but TOA lately, is the Monkey Room. They made huge changes to that. So your Baboon Brawlers have 25 or 30 HP and are always hit by magic. So as long as you have enough bonus, you're always going to one-shot them. Same with your Baboon Thrower, 30 or 35. Always max hit by melee. Same with Mage, 20 to 25. Always max hit by range. None of them would scale by raid level or group size. So really, you're running through them really quickly. The Cursed Baboons and the Baboon Shamans, honestly, are their HP is lower now, so it's so easy to one hit them as long as you're salted up. And depending on how you go through it, like if you go Zebak, Kefri, Akababa, you're pretty much always going to be guaranteed to be salted up, because Akka Room really shouldn't take you that long to go through. And then Baba has had her max hit through prayer reduced from 33 to 25 if she hits you while you're protecting from melee, which makes the whole Baba Room so much easier. So if you do want to start there, it's totally understandable. I mean, some people don't. Some people go Zebak first, which if you do that, that's also totally understandable, because Baba Room now and Monkey Room, it's like maybe a 3-4 minute tops portion of the raid. Which is kind of funny, because I was watching the other day that someone actually got a new PB on 300 duos, and it happened right after this change, which to me makes sense. Fasani's Nightmare, the drop rates have actually improved. They're 1 in 100 for each piece of Inquisitor. And that was previously 1 in 1,000. Orbs, they were 1 in 3,000, and now they're 1 in 1,600, which I feel is huge. Inquisitor Mace, it was 1 in 2,000, now it's 1 in 1,250. And Nightmare Staff was 1 in 666, now it's 1 in 533. So I mean, that's really cool to see. I mean, it's cool too to see that people were complaining about some of that stuff, and there's been changes to it. I'm not going to go through any more of those other changes because I want to go into the next big topic, which is While Gothic Sleeps. Now, this is what I'm super excited for. I'm kind of a quest person, so seeing all these different quests and everything like that coming out, to me, is awesome. I really, personally, love the While Gothic Sleeps. I loved it on RS3. This is where if you remember, way back when, you'd had the Tormented Demons, and this is what actually dropped the Dragon Claws. There was a lot of conversation around that, and you made bills off the Elder Maul? Hell yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it, but like, it was kind of one of those things where Elder Maul, I didn't use it for anything, and by the time I started going up, I was like, oh, I really can't. I can't spend the money on this. I'm too wrapped up in TOA stuff. So, I've been doing a lot of TOA, and I'm super happy about that. So there was a vote way back when, and it's kind of awesome that they did this, which was to incorporate D-Claws into the Tormented Demon drop from While Gothic Sleeps. It was voted no because it's already in Chambers. And to me, that's perfect, because otherwise you're going to destroy the value of that, because we all know some point Tormented Demons are going to be botted. You sold 182 of them? Holy cow. At 200 mil a pop? What'd you buy them for? You sold them for 176 mil a piece? Wow. So you made like 150 mil off of each one of those. That's crazy. That's definitely a few, Bill. Just a few, though. I don't know. Max stack, maybe twice, 3 times. So going back to that, D-Claws, they won't be a part of the Tormented Demon drop, which is awesome. But they're thinking about adding Demon Bane weapons that will be higher tier than, just your arc light and stuff like that, which in my opinion that's really cool. So they want to introduce an item called Firelight, Scorching Bow, Ignited Staff, from 75 to 77 to reflect their strength against demons, which I think is really cool. Another thing they would like to add is Burning Claws. And they're bringing that down from 65 to 60 for their requirement to use them. It will sit between Dragon Dagger and Dragon Claws. They're trying to kind of keep the PvP meta the same, so it's going to be right in there, which makes sense. Scorching Bow won't be a charged weapon, which is really cool in my opinion. Marks of Darkness. I honestly, I think this is going to be a really cool reward. Firelight is made. Let's see. Firelight is made by combining a fully charged Arclight, 30 ancient shards, and a tormented synapsis together. This will charge the Arclight into a Firelight. Moving forward, the Arclight and Firelight will both have uses in the game. Arclight will be easily accessible, and most players will be able to get it long before they have the opportunity to upgrade it. So the Firelight obviously will be locked behind the Grandmaster quest and obtaining a Tormented Synapsis. So, I mean, are they not going to, is the Tormented Synapsis not going to be tradable? Because if it's not, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where, depending on how, like, the Scorch Bow and Burning Claws and all that stuff comes out, like, do we have to get the Tormented Synapsis, use it on the item to sell it? I mean, I understand Firelight probably isn't going to be able to be sold because, obviously, Arclight isn't a tradable thing. So go down through, it looks like they're all going to be untradeable. So either this is going to be awesome if you want to fight like demonic gorillas and any other demon based bosses, but if not, I mean, it might be kind of a huge flop in my opinion. If there's a new quest, it's nice to be able to make money off of it because you can usually make awesome money day one on quests. Or even week one, I should say. So, our first Demon Bane weapon is Arclight. And unlike this, you won't need to charge it with Ancient Shards. You can upgrade a fully charged Arclight with a Tormented Synapsis and 74 Smithing, which I have. That's no problem. I feel like 74 is not bad to get. 70% increased accuracy and damage. That's going to be huge. It also improves the Arclight special attack, lowering strength, attack, and defense of demons at 50% of their base level, and non-demons by 5% of their base level. It's 5% over. So, I mean, this is going to be your next... there you go, right there for Corp. I mean, people are going to use it there. I know people used to use Arclight for Corp. I mean, yeah, one of the things, that's true. 30 shards is quite a few shards to get. I mean, you can get them pretty quickly, but it's also really annoying to get the shards down in the catacombs. Scorching Bow. So, I haven't really read too much on this, so I'm going to read it through with you. 74 Flatching and Tormented Synapsis. It's a new compo bow. 124 range accuracy and 40 strength. I think that's going to be pretty strong. I mean... What is the bonuses off of this? I can't remember it off the top of my head. Oh, stats. Oh, give me the actual stats. Come on now. Oh, it did. I just went too far. Oh, it's going slow today. Alright. Bum bum bum. 30% accuracy. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So 128 and was it range strength is what, 106? Is it really? So it's going to be a little bit weaker than the Lofa. It's kind of crazy in my opinion. But it's obviously going to be more powerful against demons. 30% increase accuracy and damage. It also has a nasty special which binds your enemy for 5 ticks while dealing 1 bonus damage. And if they're a demon, it binds them for 20 ticks, increasing bonus damage by 5%. So it will serve as a decent, cheaper alternative to Bofa. And be better than Bofa against demons. I mean, that's cool, but Bofa has kind of been your mid-game thing for a while. I'm kind of interested to see what Ignited Staff looks like, because if it's better than Sang, we really need something to bridge the gap between Sang and Shadow. I mean, we have so much that bridges it for melee. We have so much that bridges it for range. I don't know. It's cool. It is, especially against demons. But I think it should be a little bit lower, in my opinion. Mage gets no real love. Seriously. Mage absolutely gets no love whatsoever. So here's the Ignited Staff. 74 crafting. So they're all 74 something. Ignited Staff. Tormented Synapses. Typical for magic weapons. It works a little differently when it's ranged and melee siblings. It gives you an outright damage boost against demons. This weapon, instead of so it auto-casts combat spells from Arceus Spellbook. The special attack, you must be on Arceus Spellbook to cast it, which is handy given the staff's effect. And you must target a demon. When used, the special attack will cast the highest demon bane spell at your target. If your target is killed by the spell, you will store 25% of your special attack energy. And delay on your next attack will be reduced by 3. I mean, it's really cool, but it's going to be useless at everything other than demons. Really what it boils down to there. I mean, I can't think of anywhere else you would use Arceus Spellbook and want it to autocast. Well, yeah, I really can't think of any other place. I really wish they had the images of these. So, we are going to have a tradable weapon, Burning Claws. So, its damage is rolled similar to Dragon Claws. Burn is rolled for each hit splat. The chance to inflict burn scales dependent on the successful accuracy roll, 33, 66%, and 100% respectively. So, since Dragon Claws are remaining at Chambers, a new reward that invokes the same feelings of turning OG Claws. That's really cool. It's going to be melee spec weapons between the cheap and cheerful Dragon Dagger and the monstrously expensive Dragon Claws. So it's going to work the same as the Claws, giving you a chance to inflict burn on your target. While burnt, the target will be dealt 10 damage over the course of 40 ticks. 1 every 4 ticks, and can stack up to 5 times. So, I'm guessing... How are these made, though? Are they going to be... In my opinion, are they going to be adding that synapsis to the old Dragon Claws? Because if that's the case, like, that's really cool. That makes it worth doing, right? But that's also going to shoot up Dragon Claws. That's going to shoot up, these when they come out. If they're going to be a little bit better than Dragon Claws, but it's also going to take over, like, the OG Dragon Claws, that would be cool with me. I would be okay with seeing, these be almost the same as Dragon Claws, but with just the burn effect on them. I think that'd be really cool. PvP obviously would probably hate them. But I don't PvP, so those that do, you'll have to let me know what you think. about the burning claws. Because, like I said, in my opinion, if they're like the dragon claws, but just have that burn effect on it, that's a really good reward for a Grandmaster quest. Adding those on, selling them, whew, you can make a pretty penny off of that at that point. Um, just gonna go through. Obviously, we have Mr. Ayo Slayer in here today. Thank you for being in the audience today and some of your awesome comments and everything like that. I totally agree with you. Mage gets no real love. I mean, they even did all their adjustments around Mage, and it's really cool that some of the spells got some love, but buying GF, oh, okay. um, but like for real, um, there should have been something to bridge the gap between. There needs to be something to bridge the gap between Sang Staff and Shadow. That's just my opinion. That really should be something that should happen here at some point. But who knows? You know, both have bridged the gap pretty well between. I mean, yeah, you also have blowpipe and stuff like that, which I think works pretty well, but nothing between. Bofa and Tebow are kind of comparable at a lot of places, right? But Sang and Shadow, they don't compare at all. I mean, even with garbage, you could be wearing full Mystic, right? And Shadow is going to outperform full Ancestral with Sang. That's just terrible, in my opinion. When you have Bofa with full Crystal, and if you just have Ancient D'Hide or one of the God Ward Dungeon base D'Hides there, and Tebow, you're gonna be pretty comparable at a lot of places. Maybe even better with Bofa at some places. You don't have that with Mage. I mean, even looking at melee, Scythe outperforms your Rapier and Fang at a lot of places, but there's also a lot of places where Fang and Rapier are better than Scythe. So, I mean, it's not too many, obviously, and not as variable rewards from those that they're better at, but there really needs to be something to bridge that gap. I was kind of hoping that maybe we'd get it off of While Gothic Sleeps. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. There's one more thing I wanted to go over, which I kind of am thinking about doing this more often because honestly I think it's super funny, and I wanted to get a little bit of audience interaction here. Now there's only one of us there today, but that's alright. So this is a question I actually saw on Reddit, and it is, what is one untradeable item you would make tradable? And for me, there was definitely a few cool ones on here, like the Keymaster teleports. I totally agree with that. Why is that not tradable? Serb's a pain in the butt to get to anyways. And I'm sure... Yeah, right? It's a huge one that should be. This one was a reverse on the make tradable to make untradable. And that would be the jars that you get from the bossing. Which, I agree completely. It kind of takes the point of getting those jars that are 1 in 3k or 1 in 2k. What's the point of having them tradable? I mean, yeah, it does. So, AO Slayer said makes POH display more worth it. Yeah, I mean, it really does. I mean, like I have the Hydra one, but I could have had the Hydra one without ever even doing 1KC at Hydra, because you can just buy it. To me, kind of dumb. one of the things I personally would like is to me it makes so much sense. Granite dust for you're making your granite cannonballs. 100% agree. Ecumenical keys, that would be so sweet if they were tradable. I don't see why they're not. I mean, they'd be worth a decent amount. And especially if you're restricted on only having 3 at a time, it's going to kind of keep everything at the same place. Yeah, I think they would too. I mean, Godward's Dungeon isn't dead, but it's definitely on its way out with raids. So why not make it easier for people to do that? I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah, well, I get the removing the alch values too because of the bots and stuff like that, which suck for a lot of people. Like a lot of irons early game because you could just go there, kill all the imps, and like make money pretty quickly while being there. But I get the removing it due to bots. Guardian of the Rift Lantern. I do not think that should be tradable. That's my opinion. They think it should, but I do not. Let's see if we can find another one. That one's kind of funny. Graceful boots. Just the boots. Not the set. Just the boots. Oh my god. That is funny. Yeah. Alden's Ward F should have been tradable from the start. I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's kind of pointless to have it locked behind such high stats when there's so many better options out there anyways. Gosh. Inferno Cape just for the Reddit meltdown. It would also only cost 3 mil at best once the market stabilizes. Yeah, it probably would. Not gonna lie. There's so many people that can run it like decently easy. And 3 mil an hour. It probably would be a little bit more. It would probably be like 5 to 10, but still. Fish barrel. Oh my god, I'd love that to be tradable. Just because I can't seem to get one from temp. Mine that I think personally that would be really sweet. I don't know if you have one AO that you would love to have tradable, but I think one of the things that'd be really cool that's not tradable now to be tradable is some of the older like event type untradables. Like there's a scythe in there. There's different like costume stuff. I mean, why not? There's got to be a decent amount of them out there, and you can always release more or have them put in again at a later event, so you'd avoid the whole party hat situation. But I think that's part of the reason why they're not tradable, because some people just drop them after they get them. I was kind of one of those at one point, so yeah, that's kind of why I'm thinking they don't do it. And there's one more thing I wanted to show before I end the podcast episode for today. I know the podcast kind of looks light on both Spotify and YouTube. Kind of had to get rid of some of the episodes that we had on there. Just so that way everyone was okay and comfortable with everything. That's why it's going to just be me and anyone that agrees to be a guest. Because at that point, I don't have to worry about anyone not liking what's out there or not wanting their episodes to be out there if they're feeling done with doing any of the podcast stuff or anything like that. My internet's taking forever today. Could be my computer though too. Yeah, it's definitely going slow. Give me a minute here. Just kind of wanted to show off the YouTube stuff and let people know that at the end of the TOA Till Shadow series, I believe I have finalized what I want to do for the giveaway. And I'm going to make sure that I have that in the Big Chill Discord. So, super excited about that. Like, I'm really just waiting to get the shadow so I can do this giveaway. I mean, that's kind of really what it is at this point. Holy cow. There we go. Oh, let's see if I can share it now. Well, it's not going to let me load it. So, I'm just going to end this last episode off by saying I'm going to also put the YouTube description down below. And I'm going to put the YouTube description down below for Big Chill. And this is where I'm going to be doing the giveaway. It's in the TOA Till Shadow series. Currently there's 5. You can also see the hide and seek that was out there. One of the guides that I did, which there's going to be more. An awesome episode, which I'm surprised we haven't had more people involved in, was the interview with Eviescape. That man is absolutely insane. He's definitely going to be doing one of his March Madness things again, which I really can't wait to see and be a part of. And also, like, really can't wait to do the interview after that one. It's really awesome seeing, Eviescape and a lot of the stuff that they do. There is the first or second episode we ever did for Big Chill that's still up and available. There's going to be a lot more that we're going to be putting in. We're going to have different guests. I know probably at some point I'm going to grab AO Slayer. And I see we also have another member in the audience, which is Trav and Meg. I'm definitely going to be grabbing him in here as well. We're going to have lots of fun in this podcast. Like, I can't wait to see everyone's takes on a lot of these items out here. Because OSRS, this year is going to be huge, right? Because at some point we're going to have sailing. Which is a huge, like, new skill that's going to be so, like, I can't wait to see people's takes on it when it happens. At some point, we're also going to have the Wall Gothic Sleeps Rewards out and live, and I can't wait to see that, and I can't wait to see all the different, like, rebalancing they do for combat. It's going to be something I feel like they're going to do probably the next couple of years, just to see, like, how everything goes. And also people are complaining about it already, but I think it's really cool to see. Like, the elemental stuff, in my opinion, was really cool to see, because early game, you're not starting off with Trident, right? Especially if you're an Iron. You're not getting that until it's locked behind, what? It's 80-something Slayer boss that really isn't a boss, but you need 80-something Slayer to kill it. And by then, you're already using magic, so the elemental stuff is huge. I hope they expand on that throughout everything, elemental wise to make mage, like, more relevant. But yeah, that's it for today. So this is iGodSlayer from Big Chill, out.